Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Outside the Locker Room podcast, streaming live to you on Facebook and YouTube. We apologise for that little technical difficulty. Dipper had to sort out his mustache. It was a little bit itchy for him, so he had to go out and fix it up. But welcome, Dip.
Thanks, Jake. What a great week we had last week. It was only the second show last week, Jake, and it was over 3,000 views, and we thank them so much, all the people out there, to say thank you so much for supporting us.
We really do. Now, just quickly,
Yeah, tell me.
I've got one little thing for you here, mate. It was your birthday.
Oh, look at you, eh?
It was Dipper's birthday during the week. I couldn't find a lighter because none of us here are smokers, mate. But I'll leave that down there.
Thank you very much.
And happy birthday.
Thank you, bud.
Yeah. There you go.
There you are. Thank you. No, appreciate that, and all the love out there which was given to me by text and Instagram and that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, terrific.
When's your birthday?
January 6th.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I missed it.
You missed it.
Maybe next year.
Well, hopefully we're still going. You can
Yeah.
bring me my donut
Little
next
donut.
time. Really appreciate it. But thanks everyone who tuned in last week, and we look forward to sharing you with another terrific show tonight. We've got some very, very special guests. But before we do that, Dip, what have we got in front of us here, mate? We've got great supporters of the show. In here we've got, you've already had a bite of your donut.
Well, we've got AFL Team Zone who are kind enough to give us some great gifts. So keep asking the questions, keep writing in the questions to us, and you've got a chance of winning a box of footy cards, amazing, and an album. Everyone loves the footy cards.
We've also got last week's winner. You want to announce last week's winner?
I can't see at the moment because I'm eating.
Oh, you haven't got your glasses on.
All right, I will.
That's all right.
Angela Maria.
Angela Marie Dipler, if you want to...
Angela Marie Dipler, thank you so much for asking the question last week, and you're going to get yourself a box of footy cards from Team Zone.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And also, I want to make a very special new announcement tonight. We had Team Zone on last week, but fortunate enough that Fan Plus is a terrific business that helps connect our everyday punters of sport with their fans in very special experiences like VIP experiences. You can go to games and have a really special experience there. A lot of athletes now are doing where on Fan Plus, what you can do is you can actually get your favourite athlete to send a little video message, Dip. So Dipper during the week had a little video message in you, mate, from your favourite athlete from Fan Plus for your birthday.
Who's that?
Just go along with it.
Sorry, I thought I did. No, I had a lot of messages, you know. But Fan Plus is all about this. Like, if you want to join me at the NCG through a game of footy, we'll talk about the ins and the outs. We'll go into the locker room and see your favourite players. Well, that's what Fan Plus is all about. And we thank you so much for being part of the show. Yeah,
and just a part of their contribution to the show is they're actually they've given us 5 $100 vouchers to give away, Dipper. So,
that's awesome.
Really fantastic for them to jump on board. And how we're going to do that is that on the comments below, if you're watching, quickly run around the house and chuck on your favourite sporting jumper. It could be basketball, cricket, football. And put a photo of yourself in the comments below. At the end of the show, we'll make an announcement for the winner of one of 5 $100 vouchers thanks to Fan Plus.
No, terrific. And once again, AFL Team Zone. But what a show we've got tonight, my friend. But before we do, outside the locker room, you started this up about 5 years ago. You are the CEO of this organisation. Just for our new viewers out there, tell us a little bit about what the OTLR stands for.
Yeah, so Outside the Locker Room is a charitable organisation. We're a welfare and education program for community sporting clubs and schools around Australia, Dip. And for anyone watching the show who's involved in sport, jump on our website, otlr.org.au, supporting people with mental health challenges and other areas of their lives we find difficult. At this point in time, the reason this show was created to help our communities in sport and anyone everywhere connect and sit at home where normally they'd be training right now. But we're not.
So true. The connection is a big part of human life, and obviously in the last 6 or 7 weeks, it's just been a bit difficult to get out there to see everybody and touch everybody. So we're looking for that day. But that's what OTLR. If you need any help, just go to our website.
That's it. Jump on our website and tell your friends and share. Continue to share our videos and with all your loved ones and friends. Tonight is a big show. First, we're going to get into a local legend in a minute's time, Bobby Lee Blay. And she'll visit us and online or via Zoom, obviously, and share her story. We've got our Leo Barry segment tonight, Dipper. And we've got a couple of special guests. And who are they, Dip?
Jonathon Patton now from, was from GWS, now joined the Mighty Hawks. He's going to join us. And also, 14 years ago, a great friend of mine, his name is Brant Webb. And if you remember the days that 2 young lads got caught underneath some rubble in the mines, and talking about isolation, we'll talk about what's happened there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having a chat with Brant about that isolation topic you just spoke about there.
Yeah, amazing.
He's
14 years ago,
Yeah.
they spent 14 days underground, not knowing if they were ever going to survive it, but they did, and it's a wonderful story.
It really is. And we also have Dipper's Vault, where he'll pick his top 3 marks that he's ever seen of all time. And Kane Corns, I'll be watching if I was you, mate. You might be in the firing line a little bit later on, one of his marks. But first of all, what we're going to do now, we're going to jump to a quick break and then we'll come back. But here's a quick video from one of our sponsors, Fan Plus, and the great work that they're doing to help our everyday people, punters of sport, actually connect with their everyday heroes. We'll come back with Bobby Blay, our local legend.
See you then.
Hey, welcome back everyone, and as we have a very special guest again tonight, Dipper, one of our local legends, her name is Bobby Lee Belay. She's an absolute champion.
Well, she's been in football a long, long time, and we'll get to find out how long she's been in it for and why she's been part of our program as well.
Yeah, she has been. She grew up in Leongatha, South Gippsland. She very during the week when I sent through her bio, she picked me up on that one to make sure that it was South Gippsland and not Gippsland. I'll ask her about that. Current leadership and culture manager at the Dalston Football Netball Club, who's been one of our sporting clubs, Dipper, as part of the SO Locker Room program. So thank you to everyone at Dalston that are watching. Gippsland Power for 18 years as a trainer and a head trainer, involved with the KC Demons and the VFL, also the Melbourne Football Club, which is the AFL affiliate. Maxie Gorn was on the show last week. Western Bulldogs, and been involved, the Western Bulldogs, Collingwood AFLW's team. I've got to take a big deep breath here because she's been involved in footy for a long time, and she's also been involved with Pakistan football team with the AFL International Cup, which I know, Dipper, you actually started, and finally in AFL Victorian Indigenous and multicultural programs as well. Bobby Lee, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Hi guys, it's my pleasure.
Bobby, do you love footy?
I do.
Yeah, I hope so, because all your life's been involved around football. There's some wonderful years you've spent with young children coming through, but also the younger guys at Gippsland Power and some of the great players have come out of there. How did you get started and why football?
Why football? Football, I think I was born and bred into it. My dad was a footy coach, and I think you just got dragged around every week during the week and every weekend. You just got dragged along. So that's where footy started for me. Gippsland Power started in '96 for me under Ray Byrne. I was pretty grateful that he took me on. There wasn't many females as sports trainers out there. I started as a trainer, and I started feeling that there was a loop missing, and a lot of sports trainers go down the avenue of being a massage therapist or physios or whatever, but I thought there was a gap there. And I just, being a trainer, the boys would just open up. They'd open up about their parents, their girlfriends, their school, and also dealing with their feelings about not being good enough, their fear of failure, being at TAP Cup, burnout, injuries. Injury was a big one that really affected them mentally. And just the pressures of the game at that age, and all they want to do is play AFL footy.
Yeah, it's funny, Bill, because when I think about my time in all football clubs, and I'm sure yourself did, you could always remember the trainers, don't you?
Train the best part of your life.
Yeah, the people who taped your feet and massaged you. You spend more time with the trainers in a football club than you probably do with your teammates and your coach.
And your coach, well, back in those days, you only had one coach, of course, and with the trainers, about 6 or 7, but I could tell you 1,000 stories. And you're right there, Bobby, that you lay down, having a massage and just talk about your ins and the outs, or you should be playing, or how you going. Or get back in our day, we had to try and get the corky out. What do you do now for a corky, Bobby?
Just ice it and stretch it, mate. Oh. No rubbing out.
I used to hold us down and go, you'll be right, you'll be screaming it, and the next day you'll be all bruised up or whatever. Some of your favourite moments around the football club, Bobby?
My favourite moments around Gippsland Power or anything?
Oh, anything really.
I think at the end of the day, I don't have anything particular. It really just comes down to the friendships that you form. And for me, they're the long friendships. I feel like I'm going to be a name dropper, but Troy Makepeace, a very close friend. Players like over time, we've had 3 or 4 captains. Dyson Heppel, pretty close too. They've been great support for me over the last 12 months just being there. So even Jake lived with one of the guys, Dylan McLaren. D-Mac, all right. Yeah, big horse head, but as much as they've been great support. They're only a phone call away, and they are. The friendships that you form are massive.
Hey, Bobby, just on that, in 2005, you were involved in the Gippsland side that absolutely dominated TAC Cup that year with names like Dale Thomas and Scott Pendlebury. Just in a couple of words, how would you sum up that year? Because I believe they might have been some of the better players you've seen run around a football field. 05 is amazing. It was as every year playing in the TAC Cup. Wins were bonuses, and to actually when we won the preliminary at Geelong on Condinia Park, it just blew my mind. As much as we were there in '99 and we played on the G to make the grand final, but this was just so much special. The players were amazing guys. Spectacular. Yeah.
You got goosebumps.
I know, I get goosebumps every time. I know it's 15 years ago, but it still does it to me. So.
Hey, Bobby, just finally before we let you go, who is the best player that you've seen play the game? You've been around a lot of football. I'd be very interested to hear your view. Can I put it as an all-rounder?
Yeah, sure.
It's your segment. Go for it.
All right, I'll put it as an all-rounder. I'm going to say Dyson Heppel.
Okay. And who do you break for?
I'm an Essendon supporter. Yeah, sorry.
You gave it away. Hey, just a quick one. Quick one. You're a really important part of someone's life when they're coming through 16, 17, 18 years of age. What advice would you give to young boys and girls now about at that age group trying to make the list?
Just don't hold everything onto being drafted. If you've got other interests, pursue them. Just do the best you can and work 100%, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. As the drafts have been proven, you can be 26, 28 to be drafted these days.
Hey, Bob, we're going to let you go. The final question is, who's the funniest player around the club room? Now, Dipper and I know that culture, environment, the banter. There's always a few jokesters at a club, and I've no doubt... let's put aside Dylan McLaren, because he was one of the funniest getting around. Is there anyone else that you come across in your time as an absolute prankster? Yeah, there was a guy called Ross Glover. He's no longer with us. He had a bad car accident probably 10 years ago. The banter, he would start the banter, practical joke. I'd put tape down and I'd go back to get it, and you're in work mode and it's not there. And and next minute you're having a go at somebody else, and here he is behind you having a good old micker at you and laugh at you. And and the other thing that he was so brilliant at was gimmicking all the coaches and staff. So you find him in the corner gimmicking us, or we had Red Faces night for pre-season camp, and he just took off the coaches, and it was just the most hilarious night, and it just carried on all year. But he had the way of doing it in the right ways, and when we had to be serious, we were serious, but when it was fun time, he just really turned it on. Hey, Bobby, really appreciate you joining us tonight, and thanks for taking the time to sit down and share a little bit about your journey. But Dip?
Bobby, to all the trainers out there, we'd like to say thank you so much for being part of our great game. Without you guys, I mean, there's a lot of guys who just put their heart and soul in it for nothing, and they're a big part of our game. So thank you so much.
And also a big part of our program, Bobby. You're an absolute champion. I love you. The whole organisation loves you, and the work you do doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you very much for all the work that you do.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
You're welcome. Well, there you go, Dip. Fantastic person.
Yeah,
Fantastic lady.
trainers is such a big part of our lives at football clubs, because the time you're recruited to a club and the time you finish, most of the trainers are still there.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, it's, like I said before, one thing you remember when I back was playing, Bulldog was our property steward. You still remember their nicknames around the club.
Andy Yang was our steward, and that he never he used to give us a second pair of shorts or a pair of socks. They cost too much money, it'd be all muddy or whatever. But hey, thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
We're just going to go to another quick ad break, and then when we come back, we're going to be joined by Andy Anderson. Well, Dipper's going to be joined by him this week, and he touched a little bit, just quickly, on some fitness and some mindset tips. But we'll come back after this.
Hello and welcome back to the OTLR TV show, as we call it. And we've got Andy Anderson here, who's the CEO of Ultimate You. Have a look at him, mate. You've been doing push-ups, haven't you?
Well, I'm here to impress. Yeah, exactly right. It took me about 3 hours to get pumped up for this.
No,
so thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
At all. Good to see you, my friend. Now, it's been a couple of weeks since you've been on the show, and things are still in isolation right now. How have you found it personally with the gym business and being a PT yourself?
Well, look, I mean, everything came to a complete halt business-wise, of course, but as you know at UI, our philosophy is about keeping positive and looking at the hidden opportunities behind adversity. So that's exactly what we've done. We've chosen to pivot and get everything online, still serve our community and people in the best way that we possibly can. And of course, in the meantime, still work on how we can optimize our business and help more people when we reopen. So that's what we're excited about.
Now, when people say, go training, I mean, people think it's like you got to go 100 Ks, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got 1,000 push-ups, whatever. But think like a simple walk, just to get yourself going, and the things that you think about, it's about mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think exercise is relevant to the goal that you have. Some people just want to feel better. Right? And if you just want to feel more at peace and work on your mindset and getting more clarity and a little bit more energy, then you just need some low impact exercise. And then of course, you've got crazy beasts like you that want to get in there and do 1,000 reps, bicep curls as you do. And that's what you want to do because you love your guns. But it just depends on what the goal is at the time. And that's what we do here. We figure out for everyone what your goal is, and then you get the appropriate plan for the appropriate time. And that way, it serves you.
Yeah. Now, this ISO situation at the moment is that it's driving people crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And they're ready to run out in the streets. But, just give some tips about, just staying cool and staying within your area and understanding what you're actually doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, as I mentioned in the first segment that we did, I think the most important thing, number one, is to stay grateful. You got to just look at the things that you can be grateful for right now, because really things aren't that bad. They're different, but it's not the end of the world. And if we were going to look at it from a positive perspective, what can we be working on or doing right now that we never had the opportunity to? How many times in our lifetime do you have the opportunity to, read more or do like some family challenges or family learnings and connect with people that you love a little bit more, even if it's via camera? I mean, I know for myself, I hardly have time to chat to friends, and I've connected with more people over the last few weeks than ever before. So I think staying grateful is number one, but also number two, having a conscious plan and some really solid goals around what you're going to be doing every single day, whether it's a fitness challenge or a connection challenge or a reading challenge, but keep yourself active, have a purpose every single day, and you won't get bored and you won't slip into a negative mindset, which is, you really don't want to go there.
And it's easy to do, especially in these situations. But also, I've noticed too, a lot of families are getting together. Like, they're walking together, having a kick of footy or a soccer ball. They're out in the park at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Things that they couldn't do before because they were working in offices and so.
Absolutely.
So I think that's bringing people together, but sometimes it could be a bit of a trap as well.
Yeah, for sure. But isn't that beautiful? Like, we're almost initially forced to sit around the dinner table together, and it's like a bit of a reset across the board. And I think more than ever, people are realizing that we don't need to consume as much as we used to feel happy and feel important.
So true.
We can spend less, we can eat less, we can do less, and still survive.
Well, I know you want to eat less, but what people are doing now, they're actually cooking a lot more.
Yeah, well, that's right. Hopefully healthy things. Hopefully they're following the damn plan. But as I said, it is connected. And even cooking is such a great ritual to do with your family. You love to cook.
I love it.
So getting people around, and what a great ritual and a great way to connect with people.
Now, ultimately, you are coming up with some new ideas very, very shortly, so stay tuned. So how can people know a little bit more about what you're up to and Ultimate You?
Great. So you can follow us on social media, of course, Instagram, Facebook, and of course our website at ultimate.com.au.
And everyone, every day, he's got some sort of mindset tip because he's just a very positive person. So, Andy, thanks very much, mate. Appreciate it. And we'll be back very shortly. One of my favourite segments is the Leo Barry.
G'day everyone, and welcome back. We're about to roll into the Leo Barry.
No, say
segment.
Leo Barry!
Oh, Leo Barry, your beauty. Well, that's Alex Chesalenko. I might touch on it a bit later on, but we're going to get the boys to roll a video now of the Leo Barry segment this week, and we'll make our way all the way down south for the Under-14s B's Grand Final, which happens to be the Glenorchy Magpies dip and Lauderdale Bombers. You've done any work down there?
A lot of work down in Tasmania, but these are the moments that footballers dream about, is the fact that, you know, you've got the ball, the siren's gone, it's grand final, and you've done all the hard work, and you've got to kick the winning goal. Let's see what happens.
That's it, yeah. We'll get the boys to play the video now, and we'll have a look at the under 14s in Glenorchy and Lauderdale.
How many grand finals did you play in when you were a young fella?
I was a young fella, juniors wise. I played in a handful. I was pretty lucky actually, about 4 or 5.
Right.
Won a couple, and then I was fortunate. 2011 for Port Melbourne Football Club, the Borough, under your mate Ezzy.
Ezzy?
We went through the whole year undefeated in the VFL and won a grand final there.
Did you get a chance to kick a goal after the siren?
No, never.
No?
Never did, no.
Well, you're a backman?
Well, at juniors I was a rover ruckman.
Right.
And then found my way as I got through the ranks, a centre back, centre forward, and then a forward, and then a backman on there, is he?
So every week we're going to have a Leo Barry, and it could be about... Leo Barry's mark, obviously, that saved the game for the Swans, and that really won it. He come from the side, just threw his body in and took those strong marks. So that's why we call this segment the Leo Barry.
Yep.
The boys are just hanging out here, just are ready to play the video right now.
Yep, let's go.
And no, we've got to keep talking. There we go.
That's coming up now, Dick.
Yeah, here it is. Here we go. Yeah. Push the button, boys.
Hang on. It might be...
Good mark by Cox. Cox throws it onto the left. One last roll of the dice for the Eagles. Leo Barry, you star! Bob Murray reincarnate. The longest premiership drive in football.
And the Lauderdale Bombers down in Tasmania. So here we go. So the under 14s.
Need a mark here.
Look at the numbers for Glenorchy. By gee, they've done a good job, haven't they?
They certainly have as that ball comes back out towards the 50. Oh, they go up now. It comes to the
14Bs,
front of the
Glenorchy
pack.
in the
It
Magpies.
goes down towards
And Lauderdale
Lucky
with the
right.
Bombers
They
as
can't get it. Oh, it's a little bit high there by Bodner. Bodner just handballs that one down. There's no time to
the free
fight
kick
harder.
coming up. I think
He's playing the guy's name, the commentators clearly here, but I think he accidentally says Ray Byrne.
Right.
The kid's name's Ray Byrne. I don't think that's true, but...
Now, what sort of kick would you be doing right here now? It's after the siren, right now. He's in front of goal, and what you do now, he lines up. I'll be kicking straight at the goal post.
He's got some confidence, this young fella. Well, look at him, look at him.
He
He kicks a banana.
A banana. I can imagine doing that, and you didn't kick the goal. Oh my God! But that's what footy's all about. He'll always remember that kick there. It was 2015. It's probably about
The boys
now or something like
celebrating.
that, but anyway.
I was thinking that. I was thinking about maybe reaching out to the footy club during the week and see if the young fella was available at all to come in and have a chat or jump online and have a chat, but didn't have enough time to. But maybe next week. So please send through your nomination again. And then we'll be able then to have you, as part of the Leo Barry segment next week and win mark, goal, kick, tackle, whatever it is.
I get an opportunity to travel across Australia around all footy clubs, have all my life, and been very lucky to do that. And there's so many stories about the local footy clubs. Oh, back in the 60s, Johnny kicked the ball 90 metres.
Yeah.
It was a torpedo with a wet ball, you know. I don't think about that one, but, all good there.
What we're going to do now, just quickly again, we're just going to roll into another video by one of our sponsors here with the team footy cards, and we'll be back after this with Johnny Patton, our special guest.
Swap 'em and let's play. Look out for a magic footy flips, 3Ds or a star. Surprises in every pack. Start collecting yours today.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. And it's exciting to introduce our next guest here, Johnny Patton, JP, the General, all those great names that he's had and got. He's now joined the Hawthorn Football Club, 7 years at GWS. He's the number 1 draft pick from 2012, and he comes from the Eastern Rangers. He's a Melbourne boy. He's played over 90 AFL games, 133 goals or so, and currently, as I said, back at the Hawthorn Football Club. But this young man's gone through some ins and outs, and that's what this show is all about, is how we learn from people like Jonathon Patton. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Dipper. Thanks for having me, mate. How you going?
Yeah, very well. This is Jake Edwards, John. Did you guys know each other at all? Did you ever play against each other?
No, we didn't. I miss Johnny, and I'm very fortunate to have done that. By the size of the man, he's very bit bigger than me, Dip, and far more skilled. So I was drafted 2005, 2009. I finished up. But thanks for joining the show, Johnny. How are you coping at the moment, mate, in COVID-19?
It's a funny question now because it's almost the norm. I think it's 7-8 weeks now that in terms of us AFL players, I think we haven't played in about 7 or 8 weeks. Who even knows anymore? So it feels almost a bit normal now, to be honest. And it'll be a bit of a shock to the system once we all go back and start training again and obviously playing again. So, but I mean, it's really positive signs at the moment. At least there's talks that we're it's looking really likely that we're going to get back playing pretty soon, which is great for the head because when you're not sure when you're going to be back training or even playing, if at all this year, there's times when we thought we might not play. So it gives us a bit of a date to look forward to.
Yeah. Do you know when that date is, Johnny? What have you been told?
We haven't been told an exact date, but just from the talks with the club and around the league, I think it's obviously looking likely that hopefully within the next 4 to 8 weeks. I'm not too sure on an exact date, but that's just what they're thinking. Obviously, that's all if it goes to plan with the cases and whatnot and the restrictions ease off. So but I think hopefully next week we can actually start training with maybe 6 to 8 blokes, so which will be huge because at the moment just sort of training by yourself or with one other person, it's kind of tough.
Especially we don't know the other teammates, even though you played against them before. Hey JP, does this help you because you've had 3 knee operations or 3 knee reconstructions? Does this extra time help you, or are you just frustrated?
No, it's frustrating. I mean, it doesn't really help, but it's if this had happened last year or the year before, it would have been perfect for me. So I've timed it really, really badly. But I mean, I guess it is more a frustration. I think some blokes, although you want to play and just get straight into it, I think some blokes maybe it could be a blessing in disguise if they're carrying a bit of aches and pains throughout the pre-season and but for myself it's more frustration than anything.
And have you found yourself at Hawthorn? You rock up, you look around, see some of the greats who've won 3 premierships in a row, some have got 4 under their belt, and you come from a club where you started with nothing and you built up to play a grand final last year within 8-9 years.
It was obviously, coming to Hawthorn, it's obviously just got so much success and you walk through the corridors and I think you might be up there, Dipper, on one of the windows with all the accolades.
Sorry, his head's big enough.
I know. Don't worry, I know, mate. I know all about it. And then you got all the other boys getting around in their premiership watches just to rub it into the blokes that haven't won one.
$5.
People was probably getting a little $10 watch back then. They're probably not a Breitling that they're getting now.
No, it's so true. So true.
But obviously being at the Giants for so long, and although I wasn't a part of the grand final team last year, just to see how far they came and to actually make a grand final, to somewhat be a part of it, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, how is your knee, mate, and your body? It seemed like all the reports and that you were training pretty well end of last year, you were fit and fighting, and then make transition over to Hawthorn. How have you found the pre-season? And you said before you're frustrated, no doubt, because your body seems to be in pretty good nick.
I mean, that's the thing. It's the real frustrating part is that I could have played last year towards the back end. just wanted to make that call on my longevity and the best thing for myself and my career. So yeah, that's the frustrating part. But my body's feeling amazing at the moment. That's probably the thing that hurts is when you play your first game, and I think it was almost well over a year and a half. And then literally we're walking off the ground and we find out we're not playing for at least the foreseeable future. That was it was a bit of a weird feeling. So it was but my body's feeling great. I mean, at the same time, we've been resting, we've also been training, but it's probably the main thing, which is obviously you guys doing right now, is the making sure your mind's fit and ready, because we're all athletes, we're all pretty well conditioned. Physically, it's just more the mental you need to keep on top of, because like I said, when you're trying to train and stay in a good state of mind when you're not sure when you actually got to play or train, that's the main thing.
So just on that, Johnny, what type of things does Johnny Patton do, mate, to take a bit of time away?
He's a rapper.
You're a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
I didn't know that.
You got the photo on your wall there somewhere?
You have to get three.
Yeah, there he is, a rapper.
It's
Jake,
art, Dipper.
It's art.
Jake listens to this type of music.
Oh,
I did last. He goes. Are you into that sort of stuff or what?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm a rapper, like you said, Dip. I'm a rapper.
Love it.
Can you drop us some bars, mate, or?
No, I can't just yet. Maybe ask me in a few more weeks, and I might be able to drop you something. I'm not prepared.
All
Drake
right.
has dropped his new album, so I might be able to get some songs from that.
Sounds good.
But no, I've been doing. I've got my dog, which she helps a lot. Taking her for walks and just trying to. Obviously we need to stay inside as much as we can, but at the same time you need to get outside and go for a walk. A couple of times a day just to keep your mind ready. Actually keep a routine. I've been trying to get up at a decent time most days, because otherwise if you sleep in, you go to bed late, you're just in you're not in a good routine, and then by the time you do come back and train, you're all out of sorts. So been doing a little bit of reading as well. I tried to do a puzzle, but I keep telling myself there was a piece that was lost, but I'm not too sure if that was the case. But yeah.
Are you a Netflicker?
Yeah, I've been watching a bit. Yeah, we're watching a little bit. Me and my housemate have done about 3 seasons of Money Heist in about 2 weeks. So
I love that show.
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit far fetched, but yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Jake wouldn't understand this, but he's a single man, JP, and he's been locked up for 5 weeks, mate. So I was going to tell you, look out. When you're allowed back out, just lock him up.
Not at all, Dip.
So just before I let you go, mate, I know you're a busy man apparently, but so who's the best player that you've played alongside or against?
Against. I'll go against first. Probably. I remember the first time I played against Buddy. It was on the MCG, and I think he kicked his 500th goal against us. And we were all 19 or 18, and I think he kicked about 7 that day by half time or something. So, but I remember just walking past him for that first time on the ground and just being in awe. So he was probably the best I reckon player I've played against. And then as teammates, Jeremy Cameron's obviously pretty special. Toby Green, Stephen Canelio. But I reckon probably my best opponent, because being a forward, a lot of people ask this, is Ben Rutten. Obviously, he played for Adelaide when I was a bit younger, and he was when I first came to the league, he was just so strong and could really move as well. So, and he was a great guy. He always came up. I remember playing against him a few times, and after the game, gave me a few pointers, which is really nice of him.
And the best sledger? I know you play with Heath Shaw. I'm sure he's up there somewhere.
Yeah, the other little bloke too, in the forward pocket there.
Toby.
Toby.
Toby. Stevie J was great.
I played with a few Rivers.
Yeah, actually, a few of the Hawks boys, I remember they always used to give it to us, the Hawks boys, when we were real young. We actually beat them quite a bit. It's funny. We always, as much as they were winning premierships and whatnot, we were actually, when we were young, early 20s, we always used to beat them or come pretty close. So now it's funny that's come full circle and now I'm playing for them. So hopefully we can beat the Giants now.
Too easy, mate. Look, I really appreciate taking the time
Yeah,
to
thanks,
to
brother.
have a chat. I know I
All
believe
good.
you twice in one day. You've worked with Dipper. You must be exhausted, mate.
No, not again, mate. No, not for another year or so, I reckon. Big
No,
Dip,
we
what do you
thank
reckon?
you very much,
No,
and-
Dip, we need to have a few wines soon, Dipper.
Yeah, it's very, very shortly, mate, when this ISO is out of
When
action.
it's all done, yeah.
But thank you
Done.
so much, and we really
Thanks, mate.
love watching you play, and hopefully your career starts now at the Mighty Hawks, and we'll see you up the forward, and hope you can kick a bag for it, my friend.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Much
Thank
appreciated.
you.
Thanks, Johnny. See you, mate.
Yeah, what a great
See you
guy.
guys.
Eh? He's a
Terrific.
guy who's been through, number one draft pick, right? With the pressures of that, and then being a young fella at GWS, it's a brand new club, with
Yeah.
brand new everything, and they built themselves, and all of a sudden last year they played in the grand final. So, and for him, he has been through 3 knee reconstructions. Did you have a knee reconstruction?
I didn't know. I've had my tendon removed.
Right.
I've only got a third of it left, but
Yeah.
not a full Rico.
But you imagine that, it's lonely when you're injured out there. So well done. He's at the Hawks this year.
Yep.
And let's see how he goes.
Right, Dip, we're going to move straight into your vault, mate, now.
Oh, all right, my
so
vault, okay.
We're not even going to worry about an ad break. So
Yeah.
we're going to move straight into Dipper's vault. So this week we're going to be talking about, the question come through, what are your top 3 marks of
Yep.
all time, Dip? And as you send them through to me as they were, starting at number 3, we're going to wind the clock back here a little bit, not too far, but as you can see on your screen right now, we've got the Nick Rewalt.
Nick Rewalt playing one of his first couple of games. Look at that. Just braveness. It's unbelievable. He went back into the pack, not even looking at what's coming. And he took a wonderful mark. And he went on to be something special as well, didn't he, eh?
Yeah, terrific mark. I mean, anyone's ever run back with a flight, I never have in my career. But
Now,
there
this
you go.
one here, now your father's involved here.
It is. There's my old man Butch on the left there. Listen to the commentary. It actually says Edwards is trying to make his way to the front, but he should have said Edwards is trying to be a stepladder here. But
Now, I remember this mark, Jake, because of the fact that I was actually running to the pack. I thought someone was going to drop the ball, but what a mark he comes through. Now, during the week, we had Kane Corn saying that this is not even rated in the best marks. Well, please, Kane, I've known you since a young fella, my boy, but Jesalico, you beauty, will always stand as one of the great marks in a grand final, and what a call that was. That was after Jerkin Jenkins. I've actually met him a few times, but haven't known Jesalico himself. I actually played on Jess in one of my first games. He was just wonderful to play. I was a young fella, halfback flanker, learned a lot about the game. He just kept moving all the time.
was he very tall?
No, he wasn't tall.
No,
I
he
was
wasn't
6'2", he was about 6'1", 6'2", something like that.
That's a
yeah.
pretty good leap considering he's only 6'4". Yeah.
And Jerkin Jenkins would have been 6'6",
Yeah,
so,
right, yeah. But
number 1 for me.
number 1, that's it. Dipper's Vault. So thanks for that question last week. And once again, please leave your comments below. Don't forget to win your box of footy cards. We're going to pick the best comment or best feedback on the comments below. And to go on the running to win one of the $100 vouchers, we want you to run away, chuck on your favourite sporting jumper and put it in the comments below also. But now we're going to jump into another quick ad break, Dip, and we're going to come back with our final segment tonight, our very special guest, Brant Webb. But before we do that, to an ad break, Dip.
Well, let's go to that break.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Back with Brent.
Welcome to this special ABC News Bulletin. I'm Joe O'Brien. They're alive, they're reasonably well, and they've been rescued. That's the news the nation has been waiting to hear from Beaconsfield in northern Tasmania. Just before 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, entombed miners Brant Webb and Todd Russell made it to the top of the shaft that's kept them prisoner for nearly 2 weeks. And they amazed everyone at the site, walking from the elevator that brought them to the surface just as they said they would. After a number of heartbreaking deadlines had come and gone, a series of small explosions and hand tools were used to clear the last metre or so of rock into the cramped chamber where the pair has been pinned since Anzac Day. At around 4 a.m, it was clear rescue was at hand. 2 ambulances went to the mine site and the whole town of Beaconsfield prepared for the scenes they desperately hoped for. Sirens wailed and the church bell that signified their salvation was heard throughout the town.
Well, everyone, welcome back, and we've got a very special guest with us right now, Brant Webb. So for those who can remember, 14 years ago, Dipper, 2 men spent 14 days in a mine in Beaconsfield in Tasmania, and we find ourselves today in COVID-19 where restrictions are placed on our lives, and we associate this to isolation, and we figured, well, who would know best in an experience point of view of isolation than Brant Webb. And Brant, mate, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time.
No, thanks for having us, guys.
Brant, great to see you, my friend. Good to see you got your hair, mate. Fantastic. Haven't seen you for a little while, but those days were Australia was just waiting for you guys to come out that day in 2006, and 14 days, 14 years ago.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
So we're going through some pretty hard times at the moment. I mean, how are you coping with the isolation, having been isolated for those 14 days?
Well, mate, when we were isolated, it was a little bit different. You know, we really had to concentrate on our positives, not our, we had to concentrate on what we had, not what we didn't have. You know, so. At the start, we had air. We were pretty happy with that, being miners covered in rock. We had water, and we had each other, you know. So that was about all we had, but that was enough. That was enough to keep us in positive spirits and, you know, and keep us striving. So we were pretty lucky at the end of the day that, you know, it took a fair while for us to find some common ground. I mean, the whole of Australia is going through what we went through. We went through it a bit faster than everyone else, as in, you know, I couldn't get away from Todd, and he couldn't get away. The common ground was, well, we were completely different. I mean, you know, he was a hunter, I was a fisherman. He knew nothing about fish, I knew nothing about hunting. You know, he was Ford fan, I was Holden. You know, like, it was, the only thing we actually found was music. I was a rock and roller. He was a country western, but everyone knows Kenny Rogers, or the late Kenny Rogers. So, yeah, that music was where we sort of found each other. You know, it was a pretty tough call there those first 5 days.
Hey, Brant, just take us back to the second that the mine collapsed. Can you remember the moments before it taking place?
Before the mine collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, yeah, you don't forget things like that. And the other vivid memory I've got is getting out. That one a bit better.
Understandable. So, yeah, can you maybe just help viewers maybe take us into that environment?
Because you weren't supposed to be there, were you, Brant?
Yeah, we're 925 metres under the earth, and you know, that's a fair way up the ladders if you've got to crawl out, I'll tell you. And we were just, it was a normal routine job, mate, you know, like it was supposed to be a half-hour job. You know, well, that's what, the shift boss told us. I'll never believe him again, you know, 14 days, you know. But anyway. And, mate, it was like well, obviously there was a seismic event, an earthquake, and it was surreal in the fact that, like, I was knocked out. I was pushed down in the cage, you know, in the corner of the cage, and I copped a fairly well good knock on the head. I don't think I've really recovered so far, but it was a pretty good knock on the head with about 100 tonne of rock. And I woke up to Toddy screaming, you know, And that was the start of a pretty epic journey. And I can't thank my rescuers enough. And I'm talking about the guys who got us out, but also the people involved were the paramedics. They were mate. They brought us out mentally strong. I mean, you can imagine. Well, you can't really imagine, but being cooped up in the size of a 4-seater table, turn it upside down. Where the legs are, that's the roof. That's it. That's the space you got for two of us. And Toddy wasn't a small bloke. I'll give him that. He was. I don't think when he was playing footy, he never got out of the square anyway. He was too big.
But when you came out, Brant, on a serious note, you really have faced some real issues. Sometimes you feel great, sometimes you feel down. But looking at you right now, you look very, very happy and very fit too, which is great.
Yeah, Dip. Yeah, I've been getting into it a bit. So just haven't had much else to do. It's the old isolation. I've got to get to know my wife pretty well. I suppose every bloke's doing that now. We found a bit of common ground. I play outside, he plays inside.
But when you came out, you were superstars across Australia, across the world. And that attention takes a lot out of you as well. How have you coped? And in the last 14 years, my friend, you've been up and down, but you've just found a way out?
Mate, yeah, Dip. It's been one of them things, for I've battled anxiety and PTSD and all the demons, mate. And I thought I went through a pretty good roller coaster when I was in that cage with Toddy, but, mate, the 14 years after it, that had been the biggest roller coaster of my life, and it when it hits you, it buries you, and pardon the pun, but mate, I was pretty lucky that let's go back a bit. I was really lucky. A bloke rang me up one day, and this was 9 months ago, and I've been using all these different techniques for anxiety and PTSD, and I know people that have got problems like this. They'll vouch for this, that, mate, it doesn't work as easy as they say. And the medication, mate, it's just crap. But anyway, this bloke rang me up and he says, "Hey, Webby," he said, "you've been doing it a bit tough, I've seen in the media." And I said, "Mate, I've been doing it really tough." And he said, "Do you reckon you could get to Launceston?" And I said, "Oh, mate, it's 45 minutes down the road, mate." I said, I can't drive anymore. One more crash, And people with anxiety and that and PTSD will understand this. They want to be licensed because I kept crashing cars, mate. Like, see them brake lights on? Nah, the brain couldn't understand it to put the leg on the brake pedal, And it was just disastrous, my driving was just disastrous. And so he said, "Oh, I'll get a mate to bring me in." So I got a mate to drive me in, and the rest is history. I mean, I've never felt so well in my whole life. I'm back to the old me. And I'm pretty happy about that, let me tell you. And that's one of the reasons why I started that 14 days and 14 years on. It wasn't about me and it wasn't about anything. I just thought, well, let's give someone, like everyone's cooped up with this isolation thing, and let's just give them something to watch. But keep watching, because at the end, I turn the tables, mate. I interview the man himself. So, mate, he's got some awesome techniques. And I really want him to help as many people as he can.
Yeah, so the person you're referring to there is Peter Misson. And do you want to give a bit more detail, Brant, about the work you did with him and how that's changed your life for the better? You look great, mate, and you seem like such an Australian jovial person who.
I've seen his dark times and I've seen his happy times, and in between, some days you'd be good, sometimes you'd be bad. But I can just see his face now. Just silly as usual. Yeah, so
tell us about the work with Dr. Misson.
I used to have, Jake Dipper, I used to have some really bad days, and my wife ended up putting a big fence around my house, not to keep anyone out, just to keep me in. And it was a running joke, you take off with all the bloody gate controllers that couldn't get out. But the whole deal with Peter is he uses some different techniques. He's travelled all around the world to grab all these different techniques, and he's bundled them together. And to be honest, mate, I knew as soon as I walked out, and I was only with the bloke for like 3 odd hours. I knew as soon as I walked out, everything was different. I had awareness. I'm the best damn driver you've ever seen. I want to go back race driving again. You know, like it's just like I'm so aware of everything. But it's like when you've got that condition that you've got this tunnel vision, you know, and that's all you can see. You can't see anything outside of it. You know, you're always looking for the bad things and everything else. But now everything's positive. It's mate, he's one of my heroes. Like he's a hero for me now because you know, my heroes were the guys that got me out of the hole. But now, like that 14 years ago, and they're still my heroes. These guys that risked their lives to get me out of that hole and Toddy, and unite me with my family. That's the greatest gift anyone can give anyone, right? But this guy, he's actually given me this back, mate. And as we know, it's a tough call when you lose that little bit, you know, and you lose that little bit of mental aptitude and things start going bad. I couldn't watch movies. You know, I couldn't do anything. Like, I know people that have anxiety and that understand what I'm saying. Couldn't go into crowds. I couldn't do all this type of stuff, you know, and it really hinders your life. And, mate, he's given me that back.
So the 14 days and the 14 nights, where can we see that?
Mate, yeah, I'm hoping you'll put a link across the bottom of the screen, to be honest.
Sure.
We'll chuck it in the comments, mate. Straight after this, everyone can jump on.
So people can go on the link. What is the link, Brant?
I think it's he tags me, you know. I think it's something like Brant Webb, Beaconsfield Mine, Brant Webb, 14 days, 14 years on.
Yeah, 14 nights.
Try that one.
Yeah, I believe you find it on YouTube.
Hey, the greatest sports person you've ever seen, mate?
Yeah, yours, sorry.
The greatest sports person you've ever seen?
Oh, you, mate.
No, come on. No. Oh, I know that, but
I'm really going to stop getting Dipper to pick the guest, I tell
hey,
you.
you're from Tassie, mate. You've seen some great players out there. People.
Yeah, no, that's mate. It's pretty hard, you know. Like Australia, we've got the best sports people in the world. So you know, how do you single someone out?
No, fair enough.
Who did you barrack for?
Yeah, yours?
Who did you barrack for?
Who do I barrack for?
Yeah.
The cat.
The Cats. Yeah.
What am I?
The cat.
Well,
who's your favourite there?
You better go back to therapy, mate. You don't remember your website and you're back for the Cats. You're not fixed. You're gone backwards.
I've had a big day, mate. I've just knocked off work.
Now you're working. You're back working.
Yes, mate. That's what I mean. I mean, like, you know, I love
Not
work.
the mines.
You know, I didn't work for 3 years, Dipper,
Right.
mate. And they were tough times. I mean, you know, people think it's tough in isolation now, mate. Like, you spend 3 years with your wife, mate. You know what isolation is. Don't worry about that.
Hey, Brant, just finally, mate, just someone with your experience, just before I let you go, and really appreciate taking the time. What advice have you got for everyone in our community today?
Mate, yeah, just stay strong and find some common ground. I mean, there's common ground in everyone, so find that and you'll be happy.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate
Well
it.
done,
And I'll
mate.
hand it over to Dipper, mate.
Yeah, thanks very
Thank you.
much, Brant. Great to see you so happy and love to the family. And when I get down to Tassie, mate, when we get off this ISO, we'll catch up and do what we did last time. Have a few.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Oh, liver pills.
So 14 days, 14 years, 14 days. Check out the website. Just Google it and I'm sure it'll come up.
Good on you, Brant. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
See you, bud.
Thank you.
See ya.
What a character, eh? An
Oh,
absolute
fantastic.
character. I
Yeah.
loved him dearly. But, you know, he doesn't mind if I say that we were involved in a show together and some days he was great, you know, chatting and laughing and next day he'd be locked up in his room and we just didn't know how to handle it, you know. We wanted to say, oh, can we help you? But what do we know what he was going through? But to see him happy like that, it's just, and healthy too, like, you know, good on him.
It's a terrific message that he sends, you know, around just really being grateful for the things that we have in our lives
Yeah.
and looking at what we currently have and taking the important messages away from that. And
Yeah.
it's a difficult time we find
You know the
ourselves.
old song, I got you, babe.
I do know that song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who sings that
I
song?
got you. Who sings
that?
that?
Yeah, who sings
That's
that?
Cher. Sonny,
that's
you know.
right, Cher and
You're
Sonny.
the one. Yeah, I got you, babe.
All
I
right,
meant
so-
to say I got you.
Yeah, I got you, Dib. I've
Yeah.
always got you, mate.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump to quick final messages. Just thank you to everyone who's been able to tune in tonight and listen. And I hope you all really appreciated having Johnny Patton on the show, which is fantastic. Bobby Lee earlier on, and just had a great chat there with Brant Webb, a great experience there. But Dip, do you want to make a quick mention to our
Yeah, our sponsors are AFL Team Zone and also Team Coach. If you've got an opportunity to get into a petrol station or service station, get some footy card. How good is opening up a footy card pack? And back in our day, we used to pretend sort of like this. Look at the cards you're getting now.
They're pretty
Got that
fancy,
one,
aren't
the
they?
cat there, and you've got. Look at this one. How flesh is this one? Eastern Wood in a 3D. Yeah, fantastic. So we thank you very much, and this is going to go to one of the best questions that we get this week.
It is, absolutely. And then we'll answer those questions next week, Dip. And just another final shout out to Fan Plus. Thank you so much for donating.
Thank you, Fan Plus.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll be giving away $500 vouchers over the next few weeks, so stay tuned with that. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in, and we look forward to
the boys over there. Thanks once again, guys.
To Mark and Ben, and we'll see you guys all next week, and we'll leave you now with a final video from Fan Plus and Nick Davis.
All right, goodbye from me, goodbye from him, and hello, Nick Davis.